The young and the restless spoilers. Mariah sat quietly in her apartment, her mind racing in a whirlwind of emotions she couldn't seem to control. 4 weeks now, she had been living in a haze, unable to focus on anything other than the crumbling pieces of her relationship with Tessa. It wasn't just the distance that had grown between them, but the undercurrent of distrust and uncertainty that seemed to poison everything they once had. It felt as though, no matter how hard she tried, there was no way to repair the fractures in their connection. Every word spoken, every glance exchanged felt loaded with unsaid things neither of them dared to confront head-on. Their love had always been something fragile, something delicate that could shatter under the wrong pressure. They'd been through so much together, from the highs of passion and deep connection to the lows of betrayal and misunderstandings. There had been moments when they were unstoppable, when they felt as though nothing in the world could stand between them. But recently, things had shifted. The cracks had started to show in their relationship, and no matter how much they tried to ignore them, the tension was palpable. Mariah had often found herself alone, caught in the whirlwind of her thoughts. She couldn't deny the pressure from those around her. Her friends and family had never quite understood her relationship with Tessa. While some had supported them at first, the criticisms and doubts of others slowly began to chip away at their confidence. Ironically, the more they were criticized, the stronger they became, defiantly fighting for their love. But now that everyone seemed to have accepted them, there was a new sense of complacency that felt wrong. It wasn't that they needed the drama to keep their relationship exciting, but something about it felt too easy, too predictable. They needed something to fight for, something to prove their love was worth it. Tessa, however, had found herself drifting. She hadn't meant for things to happen the way they did with Daniel. It started innocently enough, casual conversations, fleeting moments of connection. But then, one night, those moments turned into something more. The chemistry between them had been undeniable, but it was a mistake, a reckless choice neither of them had truly considered. They'd been hiding their feelings, pretending as if nothing had shifted. But now, everything was different. The consequences of their actions were undeniable. It was in the early hours of the morning when Tessa realized the truth. Her heart pounded in her chest as she looked at the test in her hand, the result clearer than anything she could have imagined. She was pregnant. Her world, which had already felt like it was spinning out of control, suddenly seemed to tilt even further. She couldn't believe it. This wasn't the plan. This wasn't supposed to happen. She had wanted to build a future with Mariah, to settle into a life they could both be proud of. But now, with this pregnancy, everything was at risk. Fear gripped Tessa as she realized she couldn't hide this secret forever. How could she even begin to explain this to Mariah? How could she tell her the truth without destroying everything they had worked so hard to build? She knew she couldn't keep the lie going, but she didn't know if Mariah would ever be able to forgive her for what had happened. With nowhere else to turn, Tessa found herself at Sharon's door. She hadn't known where else to go, but she knew Sharon would be the one person who could help her make sense of everything. She had always been a guiding light, the voice of reason, the one who knew how to steady her in moments of crisis. But this was different. This was something far bigger than a typical family disagreement. This was a betrayal, a mistake that had the potential to tear apart the person she loved most in the world. Sharon opened the door to see Tessa standing there, her face pale and her eyes filled with fear. Without a word, Tessa handed her a small, trembling pregnancy test. Sharon's eyes widened as she took in the situation, her breath catching in her throat. "Tessa, what is this?" Sharon asked, her voice a mixture of confusion and concern. Tessa's voice broke as she explained everything. She told Sharon about the night with Daniel, about the accidental affair that had led to her pregnancy, and about the overwhelming guilt that was slowly suffocating her. She knew that Mariah would never forgive her. She knew that this would end everything between them. But what choice did she have? She was trapped in a web of her own making. "I don't know how to fix this, Sharon," Tessa whispered, her voice thick with emotion. I don't know what to say to Mariah. How do I tell her that I've ruined everything? Sharon's heart ached as she listened, her mind racing with thoughts of how to help her daughter. She had never seen Tessa so broken, so lost. She wanted to help, to fix everything, but she knew there was no easy solution. This was something Tessa would have to face on her own, something she would have to make amends for. But Sharon could help her navigate the rough waters ahead. Tessa, I can't fix this for you, Sharon said softly, her voice steady despite the turmoil within her. But you need to tell Mariah. You can't hide this from her. It's going to hurt, but the truth always comes out in the end. And you need to be honest with her, even if it means losing everything. She deserves to know the truth, no matter how painful it is. Tessa nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. She knew Sharon was right, but the fear of losing Mariah was almost too much to bear. Sharon, seeing her distress, stepped forward and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. I'll help you, Tessa, Sharon said, her voice soft but firm. I'll be here for you when you need me. But you have to take the first step. You have to face Mariah and tell her the truth. As Tessa left Sharon's house, she felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. She knew that the conversation with Mariah would be the hardest thing she had ever done. But she couldn't avoid it forever. The truth was out there now, and it was time to face the consequences of her actions. Meanwhile, Mariah sat alone in her apartment, unaware of the storm that was about to hit. She had sensed something was off with Tessa for a while now. There had been an emotional distance between them, a wall that seemed to grow taller with each passing day. But she couldn't pinpoint what was causing it. She didn't know that the person she loved most in the world was hiding a devastating secret. As the hours passed, Tessa's confrontation with Mariah loomed closer. She knew that once she told her, there would be no turning back. The truth would either destroy their relationship or force them to rebuild it from the ground up. But one thing was certain, nothing would ever be the same again. The day Tessa finally spoke the truth to Mariah was the day everything changed. Mariah had been feeling something was off for a while now, but she had no idea what was truly unfolding beneath the surface. She had noticed the subtle changes in Tessa, the way she had started to pull away, the small, quiet moments of discomfort between them. But Mariah had tried to push those thoughts aside, convincing herself that it was just a phase, a small bump in the road. After all, hadn't they been through so much already? They had faced countless challenges, and they had always come out stronger. But this time, something felt different. And as much as she hated to admit it, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. One evening, Mariah found herself walking through the park, taking in the quiet stillness of the night air. Her thoughts were heavy, filled with the images of Tessa's distant eyes and the growing silence between them. She had seen Tessa leave earlier, and for some reason, she felt compelled to follow her, to understand what was really going on. She had always trusted Tessa, always believed that they could work through anything together. But now, doubt was creeping in. Her heart pounded in her chest as she cautiously followed Tessa from a distance, trying to remain unseen. It wasn't her proudest moment, but something inside her urged her to find out the truth. She couldn't just let the unease linger any longer. After a few minutes, Tessa stopped in front of a house, Sharon's house. Mariah's heart skipped a beat as she watched Tessa ring the doorbell. What was Tessa doing here, at Sharon's house, at this hour? She felt a knot tighten in her stomach. It wasn't just the visit itself, it was the secrecy of it all. Why hadn't Tessa told her? Why hadn't she mentioned she was seeing Sharon? Mariah continued to watch from the shadows, her curiosity getting the better of her. As the door opened, Tessa entered, and for a brief moment, Mariah felt the world slip away from beneath her feet. She wasn't sure what she was hoping to find, but whatever it was, she knew it wasn't good. The silence in the air was deafening. Minutes passed, though to Mariah, it felt like hours. She finally couldn't take it any longer. She needed answers. The unknown had become too much to bear. Without thinking, she approached the door and stood just outside, trying to listen in, trying to figure out what was going on inside. And then, as if the universe had decided it was time for the truth to come out, Mariah heard Sharon's voice, raised in anger, sharp and demanding. "What are you going to tell her, Tessa? Who is the man who got you pregnant? Who is responsible for all of this?" Mariah's breath caught in her throat. Pregnant? The word echoed in her mind, but she couldn't process it. What was Sharon talking about? She leaned in closer, her pulse racing as she tried to make sense of it. Tessa's voice was low, almost a whisper, but Mariah could still hear the fear in her tone. "I'm not ready to tell her yet, Sharon." Tessa paused, taking a deep breath. I don't know what to say. But I'm not the person she thinks I am anymore. I'm not sure I can be with her. Mariah's world tilted. Her heart shattered as the pieces began to fall into place. Pregnant. Tessa had been hiding something huge. The secret, the distance, the way she had been so emotionally unavailable, it all made sense now. And yet, it didn't. She couldn't wrap her mind around it. How could Tessa keep something like this from her? How could she have hidden this from the person who loved her most in the world? Inside the house, Sharon's voice broke through her thoughts, filled with frustration. "You're going to have to tell her. You can't just walk away, Tessa. She deserves to know the truth. She deserves to know what's really going on." "I know," Tessa said softly. "But it's not that simple. I'm in love with someone else, Sharon. And I can't keep pretending that everything is okay with Mariah. I'm so sorry." Sharon didn't hold back. "You think this is easy for me? For Mariah? This isn't just your life to ruin, Tessa. You have no right to make decisions like this. You don't get to just walk away." Tessa took a deep breath, her voice trembling. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen. But I love Mariah, and I know I've messed up. I don't know how to fix it. I'm scared of losing her, but I'm also scared of living a lie. She deserves better than me." Mariah stood frozen, her heart pounding in her chest as she took in every word. She wanted to scream, to confront Tessa right then and there, but she couldn't move. She didn't know what to say, didn't know if she even had the strength to face her. All she could do was listen, her tears silently falling as the weight of the situation crushed her from within. Finally, Sharon's voice softened, though there was still an undeniable edge to it. "You have to tell her, Tessa. You have to face the consequences of your actions, no matter how painful. This is your responsibility, too." Tessa nodded, her face pale and full of regret. "I will. I just need to find the right time. But I know it has to be soon." Mariah's legs felt like they might give out beneath her. She had to get out of there. She couldn't take another second of eavesdropping on this devastating conversation. She turned away from the door, her body shaking, her heart torn in two. She had heard enough. The truth was out. And now, she had to face it, even if it meant losing the one person she had trusted with everything. As Mariah walked away, her mind was spinning with 1,000 thoughts, none of them making sense. She knew she had to talk to Tessa, but she didn't know how. She didn't know what she would say, or if she could even look Tessa in the eyes after everything she had heard. All she knew was that her world had shattered. And the woman she loved was now a stranger to her. When Mariah finally found herself face to face with Tessa, the silence between them was deafening. Tessa's eyes were filled with shame and fear, and Mariah could see the weight of her secret hanging in the air between them. "Tessa," Mariah began, her voice barely a whisper. "Is it true? What I overheard, are you really pregnant?" Tessa nodded, unable to meet her gaze. "Yes. I'm so sorry, Mariah. I never wanted to hurt you." Mariah felt her chest tighten, the words lodged in her throat. She wanted to scream, to cry, to demand answers, but all she could do was stand there, her heart breaking into pieces. The woman she loved had betrayed her in a way she could never have imagined. And now, nothing would ever be the same again.